Good morning. I'm Tosapol Tewa. Today is on 30 September 2020. I would like to present and to show you how to use the ColorFlex EZ in the customer and dealer in the CLMV country, is including with Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. Okay. Before I will talking about how to use or how to operate the ColorFlex EZ standalone, I would like to introduce you the accessory of a ColorFlex and the product overview of ColorFlex itself. ColorFlex itself measure and the design of the machine we call a pot-up measurement. We can put the sample on the top of the sample itself, like this, if the product is like a plate. The ColorFlex, the design is a pot-up measurement. We can read the sample. We call uniformity or homogenize of the sample, like a plastic injection. We can put on top of the machine like this and measure directly. Or if the sample is like a plastic pallet, we can change the pot insert for some. We can change the standard pot insert to pot insert for sample cup and put the sample, okay, into the sample cup and measure like this. Put the sample cup cover on the tops of the machine itself. Okay. And if you have the products with very high moistures, suppose like a poultry meat or fish or beef meat, you can pit with a nose cone with polycarbonate or nose cone with quartz and measure itself directly. Same as mini scan. Sometimes the sample we cannot match design. Sometimes the samples is have a liquid with a translucent or transparent form. We can use the sample cup with linear set to measure with a transfectant. Put the liquid inside of the sample cup with the higher borders as the marks, the middle marks, and then the middle marks, and then push the white disc on the top and measure like this one. This is good for the translucent or transparent liquid form. Good morning. I'm Tosapol, who will training you on the how to operation the ColorFlex EZ with standalones by the machine itself, not running with the EasyMat QC software. Okay, let's go. We press the bottoms to start, but as you know that before we start the bottoms, we need to use the power cable put into the power supply first, and then we press. It's open. Okay, how does it running? When it's running, it's working more or less the same. So, to be honest, I can tell is 90% is more or less the same with a mini scan EZ running by standalone. Also, we have the function of the standardized. We have the function of the read features. We have a product setup feature. We have a global option features. We have a diagnostic features. We have a save readings features. We have a setups maintenance features. And also the last one we have about. Okay. We go one by one. Before you measure any standard or sample, you need to standardize the system first. You see that on the right hand side, we have a go. You can go, this means enter or measure. You can go standardization. And then the machine will tell you straightforward, read the back glass. You can put the back glass here. The white part is on the front of the system, and we press go. And then it tells you to read the white tie here. Okay, the white ties is have a XYZ value endorsement of the white tie. We call a primary white tie standard, and we press go. The machine will tell you the sensor have been successfully standardized. It means you promptly to use the system. Okay, and for sure, at the beginnings, you need to go to the main menu first. The main menus on the right hand side, you standardize already done. But before you running, you need to set the product setup. You go a product setups. Do you want to select the setups to configure? Yes, we need to configure it. We go configures. You can see the name of the product setup in the past that we set. Like a setup number 1 is a coffee roasted. Setup number 2 is a pineapple. Setup number 3 is a apple 2. I don't know who said surimi workings. I will find another one that have no one to set it up. I set up number 26. Okay, we go set up number 26. Once we go ready, you can check setup numbers 26. You can change the names, it's up to you. You can change the names, up to you. And then you done on the left arrows. This is 26 and standardize. Standardize again is a full feature of a standardize. Once we call physical, second we call workings, mnemonics, and hinge. Okay, physical is mean when you want to read the standard or product setups and keep into this product setup number 26. You can read it as a standard, and you have a 100 sample or 1,000 sample or 10,000 of a batch number to compare with that a product setup itself. Thus, you can be used this function for physical. Second is the workings. You have a pair by pair of standard and sample itself like this yellow standard and yellow samples. You have a pair by pair of the purple standard and purple sample. This one, you can use this function with the workings. The third is a mnemonics. Mnemonics is good for when you own a mother company or you own suppliers want you to control the color of your product in the LABs or XYZ or LCH value, and you don't have the sample or the standard itself, but you need to key in the number of the LAB values into the machine and keep it as the product setups. This one we can call a key in standard. And the last one is a hinge. Hint is good for, sometimes you have a 5 ColorFlex instrument in different serial numbers, but you need to let all of them readings the same sample as close as possible in each other. That's why you need to use a hinging mode to measure it. This one is a hinging. And averaging. Averaging is good for sometimes your samples. It's uniformity like this. You can read directly. No need to set up the averaging 3 times, 4 times, 6 times. You can read 1 time, it's alright. But if your sample is looking like this, it's looking like a plastic palette or like this, okay, you need to do averaging at least 2 times. And you can click on the averaging 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, you know, or you go back to ops, okay. And view, how does it use for view? View is good for once you want to data analyze or evaluation after you read the standard and sample itself, and you want to represent it as a LAB color scale from the CAE LAB or Hunter LAB or CAE LCH. It's up to you. We can view and press the right arrows to enable it, okay. And then you select the absolute. In the machine, it has the absolute value, it has a different value, it has the spectrum data, spectrum difference, spectrum plot, a deep plot, and also color plot. Okay, again, absolute, difference, spectrum data, spectrum difference, color plot, deep plot, color plot. Around 7 display. First one we select from the absolute value, and then the 6510 that normally we use. You can select, normally we use the 6510. Color scale, we use a L star, A star, B star, or we can use a Hunter LAB, like a LAB, like this one. And color index or color induced, we can use a YI ACM D 1925. Okay. CMC is mean the color measurement committee is a shared source. This one is good for when you select the DDE from DDE CMC, like a LCH reading. You need to set up the contrast ratio with the L per C, but normally we didn't use much for this one. Okay. This is a view 1, and we came back, paste back, and then view number 2. You enable it and measure with a different value, and you can set. We read the Hunter LAB. That's why we need to set the DDE. Suppose like this one. DDE. Okay. And view 3 enables. We can set the color plot. You see the color plot of the system. View 4. We can set the, not the color plot, we can set the deep plot, okay. I will explain you how that is different. And the view 5, we enable is with the spectrum plot. View 6, we enable is on the spectrum difference. View 7, we enable is like a spectrum data 7, okay. And then we select already, we back. This is you enables from view 1, like a absolute, view 2, like a difference. You see the different value of the color when you compare between the standard and sample. Wheel 3 is a color pot. Wheel 4 is a deep pot. Wheel 5 is a spectrum pot. Wheel 6 is a spectrum difference. Wheel 7 is a spectrum data. Okay, and then finish, we go main menu, we set product quality. Global option is not going to be an issue for the global options. Normally it's used for just language. You want which language you want, the French. If you graduate from French, you want to use in French. Okay, or Deutsch, or Italianos, Japanese, and Espanol. Espanol is mean the Latin Americas, the South Americas, and China, Zhongguan, and the English again. Okay, and the display setting, just something like a dimming, or you set the contrast on the screen itself. Okay, not a big issue. Setup logs, you want to set up logs, no one can change anything. So if you want to set up ons, no one can change any parameter from yourself. Auto saves, every time you read the standard or sample, is automatically saves. If you select on, standardized interval, normally we set 8 hours, 6 up to 8 hours. This means the 6 up to 8 hours is warning you when the times come. Auto searching, normally we didn't use much on the auto searching. With sometimes we want to see how's a sample, which number of a sample, or which sample number is crossed with a standard. You can use auto searching, but we didn't use much on this one. But date and time, you can set the 30th of September 2020. Now the time is actually it's almost 12. But maybe we need to change a little bit, like we can set on this one. We can set on this one, okay? This means now is should be 11:50. Okay, and then next, and we set it. This means change already, okay, after we set it. We go main menus, we go both setups, and then we go diagnostic. Diagnostic is quite important for the ColorFlex runnings. Sometimes we can use the avoid repeatabilities. We can check from once every 2 weeks. Suppose we press the background. Before you press the background, need to clean the tile properly and put the white pot on the front of the machine and press go. And then white tile. Press a white tile. Go. And then put the white tile at the pot again and read like a white repeatability test. This one will functional you to read 20 times. Okay, this one we show you read number 1, list number 2 until number 20. Just want to briefly show you a cancel first, and it will show you the number. You can see that read number 3 until number 20. But just want to briefly show you. But the one that another quite important thing is a skin tie check. Skin tie check. This one I can show you for fully. This one you can see from the XYZ for endorsement of the numbers of the green tie. You see the 14.81, you see 20.7, 16.6. This one you put on here, okay? And you go, if you're not sharing anything, you go. And then the machine will tell you to re-standardize again with the back glass. and then with a white tie. And then with a green tie. Before reading, clean it first. Okay, pass. This means from the ASCM E308 tell you the tolerance plus and minus of this instrument should be less than 0.30 from the delta X, delta Y, delta Z. Okay, this means machine is working properly and running on the good conditions. We go the main menu again. You see that? Press on the right arrows. And save reading. This is a save reading. You want to save reading, or you want to transfer the information from the USB port. Uploaded the information from the internal memory. And you can use a CSV export into the USB port. And USB port you can be open into the Excel file or Excel program in the computers. Okay. Setup maintenance, this is just reset and export setup or import setups. The main menu itself and about mean the model of ColorFlex is a 045 zero optical geometry with the large area reviews. Large area reviews mean the port size is 31.5 millimeters. The serial number of a ColorFlex ESET, and this have a firmware. You see that this have firmware. And flash count. Flash count means number of readings already. Normally for the mini scan or ColorFlex, it can be read the sample at least 1 million flash count. And then we said already we can go to read. Go. We need to see the product setup first. We set up number 26. We go and we don't use a hinge, we use a physicals. Once we use a physical on number 26, they want you to read the standard value first. You need to click the standard value first. And you read the standard, suppose like this card with standard. This is a LAB of the standard value. Okay, and then you done. You go main menu. You want to read sample. Do you want to select the setups to use? No, we didn't want to set up anymore because we said already. And we read the sample on the another sample. And this one, after you read it, is we compare with the standards as you read. You see that? A different. If we go to main menu, again, we read again. Sorry, I show you something. This is a sample. When you read the sample, it's compared with the standards as you read on the standard value. Okay, this is a delta L, delta A, delta B. Color pot. Spectrum pot. A deep pot. Spectrum diff, spectrum data. Okay, and this is an absolute difference. Color pot, color diff. Color diff means maximums of the wavelength that different between the standard and sample. This is spectrum pot. This is spectrum diff between standard and sample, and this is a spectrum data. Okay, and again, when we go to the main menus, this one we compare together. But when we change to the a product setup, we go to product setup. You want to set? Yes. If we go to number 26, yes. And we go to the view. Sorry, back. We change to the physical to working. How does it different? We go to the main menu. We read. Once you set the working features, is we go to read standard first. This is good for a pair of the standard and sample. Read the standard. This is read the standard. And once we read, we suppose this one is a sample. We read the sample. Okay, and you see the difference. It's very close. See? Color pot. Everything close. But when we change the sample to here, it's a little far from the standard because DDE is a 1.1. See? And you can see the color pot, color diff, spectrum pot, spectrum diff, and spectrum data. See, this is really simplified to use, and we back. Hopefully, all of you will enjoy with our videos. If you have any question, please contact us on the Color Global Companies, or send me an email at tosapon@color-gb.com. Thank you very much. Bye.